Hello everyone. I'm going to discuss in this video lecture principles of the building planning from the unit 2 building bylaws and the introduction to the architectural drawing. So building planning, whenever we draw a plan of a building, it is a graphical representation of the arrangement of the different rooms or the components of the building on the paper. So it gives us a look about how the building will look like after its construction. So we have to draw the plan a very systematically manner so that our final product or it is form a meaningful and a homogeneous structure to meet the functional requirement of that particular building. So when we draw to start a drawing a plan of any building, a new building, we should have a certain principles how to draw that plan and what are those principles to be followed for drawing the plan so that our plan and the final product will become a meaningful and a homogeneous structure. Now, some important things are there that must be considered while drawing the plan that we will see in this. Particularly, an engineer or architect generally draws a plan, so they have to consider the demand of the owner, then the economic status of the owner, and the choice or the test of the owner, so that and as well as the purpose of the building is a very important thing that must be considered. Then the design of the building should be compatible with the surrounding structure always. Sufficient air and the sunlight should be allowed to come into the building so that the healthy environment in the building can be achieved. The privacy must be maintained, especially in case of the residential building. A proper security system and the fire alarm system and the fire safety systems, they must be the integral part of the building to provide the safety and the reliability of the building. So this comes under the different building services, the supporting services that are provided in a building. Then the value of the structure should always be maintained in a building plan, and whenever we are drawing the building plans, they must follow a certain codes of the building, say for example the civil engineering codes. So these 8 points are there which must be considered while drawing the plan of the building, whether it is a residential building, whether it is a commercial, or it may be the public building. These points are applicable for all the types of the buildings. Now, if we are going to summarize these points under the five main points, we can say we have to consider the function of the building or the purpose of the building for what it is constructed. It is one of the important criteria that must be considered or that must be give the importance. Then the shape and the size of the plot will always affect the planning of the building. And the topography of the area, that is also must be considered. Then the climatic condition of that particular area, it is again the governing factor for deciding the plan of the building. And the building bylaws which are laid down by the government that must be followed while drawing the plan. We will see one by one the 12 principles of the building planning. They are listed as aspect, prospect, furniture requirement, roominess, grouping, circulation, sanitation, elegance, privacy, flexibility, economy, and the practical consideration. Now, the first principle is the aspect. So, aspect is nothing but deciding or locating the position of the different rooms, say in the residential building. Now, how to decide the position of the room? We have to decide the position of the room according to the four directions, that is, south, west, and north, and the east. So these are the four directions which are considered in aspect principle. So why we need to consider all this? Because a building must be planned according to the natural resources, so that we can enjoy the natural resources such as sunshine, breeze, a wind, outside scenery. That must be maximum we have to use it. Then we can say a room receiving a light and air from any particular direction is said to have an aspect of that particular direction. Now this diagram indicates the position of the different rooms such as a bedroom, kitchen, veranda, and the living room, or the drawing room and the dining room. These four rooms are placed according to the four directions. such as east, west, then the south and the north. We can see in this diagram that the living room should have a southern or a southeast aspect, means the living room should be placed at the southeast side, so that we can take a maximum advantages of the sun during the winter and the north during the summer. Now bedroom must be located at the west side or the southwest aspect side, so that the prevailing wind can be entered into the bedroom, and we can take the advantage of that in a summer season. A kitchen should have an aspect of the east, so that the morning sunlight will refresh the kitchen. It will kills the germs in a kitchen, and it will purify the entire air. The gallery and the veranda must be kept at a north or a northeast side. The classroom and the reading room should have the aspect of the north, as from the north side we are getting a diffused sunlight and the evenly distributed sunlight. Now prospect is the second important principle of the building. As we can see in this image, that prospect represents the entire elevation of the building, that how the building will look like after its completion. So prospect of the is nothing but the desired, it is a view that is desired by the occupant of the building. Then prospect is achieved by a surrounding particular, or it is depend on the surrounding particulars, such as outside our building it may have a flower garden or it may have a garbage dumps. So we have to decide what should be the prospect of our building. So it demands the deposition of the doors and the windows like the aspect. However, a good layout should not be always disturbed by the sake of good prospect only. Third principle is the furniture requirement. As we know that in a building there are different unit or the different components, such as in a residential building we have a drawing room, a kitchen, a bedroom. So each room is having a different furniture requirement. So a building or a room should be well acquainted or well provided with the furnitures, but it should not be the care should be taken that the furniture should not be overcrowded. If the furniture become overcrowded, then we will lost our circulation space in the room. So next important principle is the roominess. Now roominess is the effect, or it is a effect created as a room is having a larger dimensions, or a larger area of the room can be available with the help of the roominess principle. For example, in the previous figure, we have said see that there is a rectangular room and there is a square room. They are having a same area, but a roominess principle can be achieved by providing a room in a rectangular shape, then the square shape. So the rectangular room gives us the effect of the spaciousness as compared to the square room. Next principle is the grouping principle. So grouping principle is nothing but the combination or the arrangement or the interrelationship in between the different components of the building, so that we can easily access all those components of the building. For example, we can say that a dining room should be close to the kitchen, so that it should be flexible enough to use the kitchen as well as the dining room. Then the kitchen should be kept away from the main living room. So in this way we have to achieve the grouping principle. The rooms which are having a same functional requirement, they can be kept together, so that the grouping principle can be achieved. Now, if we are talking about the public building, say in an office building or in a hospital type of the building, there is an administrative department. So we have to keep the administrative department as a centrally located place, so that from entire building or from the entire area, that administrative department can be easily accessible, and it will become a convenient for the user. Next principle is the circulation principle in a building. Now, when we are talking about the circulation, we are saying that there are two types of the circulation in a building. One circulation is called as a horizontal circulation. This is obtained, or this circulation is within the same floor. When we are saying it is a horizontal circulation, when we are saying it is a vertical circulation, we are saying that a circulation from one floor to the another floor. So Horizontal circulation in a building can be achieved by providing the passages, then the corridors, etc. And a vertical circulation in a building can be achieved with the help of the staircase and the lifts. Sanitation is again an important principle of the planning that can be achieved if we have focus on this principle right from the planning stage. We can definitely achieve the sanitation in the building. So sanitation does not always means, or it is does not always associated with the urinals and the bathroom and the wash basins, but a sanitation is also related to the entire lighting and the ventilation of the building. It means that all the parts of the building should be well lighted and ventilated to maintain good hygienic condition in the building. Either we can achieve this sanitation principle naturally, or it should be achieved by the artificial way. But as we are using this principle for drawing the plan, we should focus that we should be very clear that the sanitation principle or can be achieved in a planning, so that we can achieve a natural light and the natural ventilation during the daytime and as well as in the night time also. Otherwise then we have to make some arrangement of the artificial ventilation also, say the air conditioning system. So next principle is the elegance. Elegance is nothing but the overall impact or the effect created by the building on the observer. So the elegance is much related to the elevation of the building. How the elevation is a good enough, then accordingly we have to achieve the elegance principle. And it is also related to the general layout plan of the building. Say we have a different types of the layout, such as we can provide a C layout, we can provide a H type of the layout, we can say provide a L type of the layout. So each layout is having its own elegance, and the elevation is also related to the elegance, nothing but that. It also depend on the selection of the site or the open plot for the construction purpose. Say that a building located in a depression will provide a bad elegance as compared to the building that is located at the elevated spot. So this is one of the example that will increase or that will provide the elegance of the building. Then privacy is a very important principle whenever we are planning a residential building or whenever we are planning a public type of the building. Now the privacy can be an internal privacy as well as the outer external privacy. So internal privacy is means that a privacy from one room to the another room, and the external privacy is a privacy from the adjacent building, neighboring buildings, or it may be from the street also. So internal privacy can be achieved by the positioning of the doors and the windows in a particular room. Now, this diagram indicates the position, how should be the position of the door. So, first diagram shows us a centrally placed door, and it shows the if the door is open, how much area is exposed to the observer and how much is the area of privacy that is obtained. Now, the second diagram indicates when our door is placed at the corner of the room, how much is the exposed area and how much is the area of the privacy. So we can clearly say that when the door is placed in the corner, the exposed area is very less and the area of the privacy obtained is high. But when the door is kept at the central of the wall, the exposed area is more and the area of the privacy that we are getting is very less. So next principle is the flexibility principle. So the flexibility principle refers to that it is generally referred to the functional requirement of the room. We have to think that if the functional requirement of the room has changed as per desiredness, it should be provided that flexibility that we can change the functional requirement of the room. For designing generally for designing the houses for the middle class families and other buildings where the economy is the main concern, the flexibility should be an important criteria to be considered. If a large space is needed in a certain time of a house, in a house it may be, so that the gatherings can be accommodated. So this can be achieved by providing the flexible partition walls or the curtain in between the two rooms, so that they can be removed at the time when the gatherings can be created, and the kitchen and the dining room can be accommodated. So this is nothing but the flexible principle. The next one is the economy. It is a very important principle while we are planning a building. Then to fit the proposed schemes within the limitation of the resources and the funds, certain alterations and the omissions in the original plan have to make. But while considering the economy, the required strength and the durability of the structure should not be compromised. So this is related to the quality of the work. If whenever we are going to achieve the economy principle, it should not say that we have to hamper the quality. Also, we have to maintain the strength and the durability of the structure. So economy can be achieved by the providing a simple elevation of the building, simple plan of the building, a simple materials, not much decoration can be provided in a building. So in this way also we can achieve the economy in the building. Now, a 12th principle is nothing but the practical consideration, means how these 11 principles can be practically applicable. So that is also to be a very important thing we must be considered. So here the strength, stability, convenience and the comfort of the occupant should not be a sacrifice here, and the provision for the future expansions without the dismantling should be made in the planning. The building should be strong and capable to withstand any natural hazards like earthquake, flood, and the storm. So this should be our priority. Then the elevation should be made a simple but yet attractive, so that the economy can be achieved. Then the too many porches may give a good elevation for some time, but in the end, a simple designs fit better for the generations. Then larger sizes of the room should always be considered as far as possible. It can be shortened by providing the partition. So this can be achieved in a flexibility principle. So in this lecture, we have discussed about the 12 principles of the planning, how they can be achieved, the factors affecting the planning. Thank you so much.